Namaskar. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay. So today's today's talk, not chant, I'm thinking of chanting, is we've been doing this following the Ashtanga Yoga Prakriya, in starting with Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara. Last one was Pratyahara. The next, according to that system of the 8 limbs of yoga, is Dharana. So now, I'm not going to go into the next part, which is Dhyana, which we'll do in a separate way, in a separate session, because in the Yoga Sutras, I still think that it is the root text from which you can understand yoga, and it's the oldest available, perhaps. And also in the Sankhya texts. In one way, Sankhya is the parent of yoga, although there are some minor differences. Not many, minor differences. For one of the differences being that while yoga derives much of its theory and practice from Sankhya, the difference is in Sankhya, nowhere will you find a mention of Ishvara as a concept. I mean, there is Ishvara, but that Ishvara concept is Purusha, the Supreme. There is nothing else. No creator God and no agency and all that. Yoga, of course, a couple of places they have mentioned Ishvara pranidhanena. So what thing we have to understand from this, one thing is that the Ishvara of yoga is derived from the Ishvara of Sankhya. So it is almost the same concept. It's not like a creator God sitting there and pulling strings and in the workshop making human being put it silly, of course, but this is different. So anyway, so Dharana. So what I want to say is, among the practicals, apart from the practical way of life, which is Yama Niyama, the first thing mentioned is asana, and then only pranayama, pratyahara. Now what we should understand is, there is a link between the definition of asana in Yoga Sutras and the definition of dharana in the Yoga Sutras. How come? No postures are described in the Yoga Sutras. No postures. Asana is mentioned, but there are no postures described anywhere in the Yoga Sutras. They come later in the Yoga Pradipika, this, that, but definitely not in the Patanjali's Yoga. One, because they are sutras, aphorisms, which are very tightly edited, and you need an interpreter to open it up. So there are Vyasa's commentaries, there are Vachaspati Mishra's commentaries, there are many other commentaries. Swami Vivekananda also commented. I think he might have based his commentary on Vachaspati Mishra. Looks like it. Recently they unearthed a commentary on the Yoga Sutras by Adi Shankara. We don't know whether it is authentic. Probably it is. So, asana, it's from there that dharana, the serious part of practice starts. Yoga Sutras is described simply in the Yoga Sutras as sthira sukham asanam. That's all. That means asana is that situation, need not even be a posture, could be a posture. Asana is that situation of body and mind where there is sthira sukha, where there is continuous and permanent happiness. So it certainly cannot be mentioning something in which you tie up your legs into knots and there is excruciating pain. It cannot be asana, according to yoga. So some have interpreted this as not only as a physical posture, but as a state of mind. If you don't have sthira sukha, that means permanent, or rather long lasting, let's put it that way, need not be permanent, long lasting sukha, sthira sukham, then it cannot be defined as an asana. So, anywhere you two, I am doing asana, is very strainful. According to Patanjali, it cannot be an asana. Of course, in the beginning, when you do even the posture, there is pain, but afterwards they become very comfortable. Now watch out. When you do asana, after doing all your asanas, there is always something called shavasana. In shavasana, you're like a dead body. Shava is a dead body. You're lying down. So, after doing all the tensing and everything, you're relaxing your entire system, and therefore the effect of the whole of the practice is derived when you are lying down in shavasana. So it's mandatory to have shavasana at the end of all asanas. So therefore the sthira sukha, or the extended feeling of happiness, comfort, enjoyment, etc., happens not so much while doing the postures, but when you are lying down in shavasana. So what do you do in shavasana? Now I'm going to, because this is connected with dharana, so I'm going to tell you about this. Shavasana is not merely lying down like a shava. The instructions we were taught about shavasana is lie down, imagine that you are a dead body lying in the tandoori, in the cremation ground, and your hands and legs and everything is stretched and you're laying down. Same smell actually. And then you closed your eyes. Now, you start tensing and relaxing your muscles starting from the toes. Tense, relax. Tense, heel, relax. Shin, tense, relax. Keep on going till when you go there, when everything is tensed. Why tense and relax? It's only when you tense that the effect of relaxation is known. Imagine if there was a situation when there is no sorrow, you won't know what happiness is. There's only all the time, there is no movement. It's only when you feel sorry that when it moves you feel happy. Always if you are happy, you will get tired of it. You won't be able to understand. So this tensing and loosening of muscles is the most important part in yoga. You see at any posture, even if it is a standard yogic posture, traditional or otherwise, you bend this way, you tighten your muscles, then you bend this way, you tighten, then you relax. And in the end, total relaxation. Now, the strange thing is, it's not strange actually, but peculiar thing, that while the Yoga Sutras have 3 important sections, starting with Samadhi Pada, the first, a description of where you are likely to go. What is Samadhi? What is it that you want to do with yoga? Samadhi. We'll come to that in some session later. The next one is Sadhana Pada. Now, normally you would expect the practical things in the Sadhana Pada, where you are supposed to, what to do actually. What is the practice? Actually, sadhana can be called practice. But Sadhana Pada ends with Pratyahara. And the other Anga called Dharana, Dhyana and so on are taken over to the Vibhuti Pada, the next chapter, next session. Now, before we go into the actual definition, because the first sentence, the first sutra of Vibhuti Pada is Dharana, is about Dharana, not in Sadhana Pada. Pratyahara, it ends there, which we discussed last time. You might think, why is this fellow not talking about Dharana, is talking about, because you should know, because there are so many confusions about this matter, people don't know. So it's better to put it in a shastric sense, so that you understand. So, in the Vibhuti Pada, now let me describe Vibhuti. Unfortunately, in the past 100 years or 50 years or 60 years or so, people have given a completely wrong meaning for the word Vibhuti. The moment you say, oh, Vibhuti is coming from here, Vibhuti is coming from there, that is ash, my dear, not Vibhuti. Vibhuti means the capacity of the human to be extra normal or better than normal. Expansive state of consciousness is called Vibhuti. The expansive state of mind is called Vibhuti. Not what you pick it up from a dhoni or what. This is not this. But unfortunately, talk to somebody. Oh, he's talking Vibhuti. Oh, maybe about producing ashes. Sarkar can also produce ashes. That's not Vibhuti. Please, Vibhuti. I don't want to do it now, but it can be done. That's Vibhuti actually means when the mind expands to a higher level of consciousness. This is Vibhuti. And therefore it is very apt that the first sentence in the Vibhuti Pada session of the Yoga Sutras is about the expansion of the mind. And the first step to expansion of mind is Dharana. So, sometimes I forget, so I'm going to take the Yoga Sutra and first quote the sentence from which Vibhuti starts, Vibhuti Pada. And nowhere in the Yoga Sutras is there any mention of ashes coming out of either your head or fingers, or I don't want to say anything more. Vibhuti Pada. Desa bandas cittasya dharana. This is the definition. Definition of dharana. Dharana, dhyana, samadhi, 3. According to the Yoga Sutras, in the section called Vibhuti Pada is Desha Bandhas Cittasya Dharana. Let's see word by word. Desha, place. We all know Desham. Bandha, holding together. Or you can say from, holding together. Some people use that word binding, but I don't like that word binding. When you're going for freedom, kaivalya, why would you bind? So it's holding together. So desha, bandha, holding together. Cittasya, the mind. Dharana, this is called dharana, attention. So the definition could be that the capacity to hold your mind together instead of being scattered and distracted, bringing it together in one place is called dharana. So it could apply to the outward world also, but here in the context of yoga it applies to the inner world. How to hold the mind that is normally distracted, going here, there. Hold it together, so that when it is held together, when there are no distractions, then the mind is full of energy. Not energy for this or energy for that, but energy per se, as it is, essence of energy. From there you can apply it here, there, whatever you want. So this is dharana. Dharana is, deshas means the place, which means to hold the mind together without distraction. When you say desha, it means one place, that's it, not one country or in a specific situation, let's say. Hold it there. Now, pranayama and pratyahara helps to bring this about, which is why it comes just after pratyahara. We discussed pratyahara last time, so you know what I'm talking about, one-pointedness. Dharana is once you acquire one-pointedness, to hold it there. You must have heard now also in the villages, some people who claim to be yogi, they say, oh, we know how to make mercury into a ball, into a solid. If you have it, you can fly in the air, no one can make pure mercury, which is an element, its quality itself is liquid, into a ball. The characteristics of mercury is the only element which is actually liquid. So you cannot, but people make some ball and bring and say, give me this money, you take this, this will happen. You can have an amalgam of mercury which becomes a ball. Amalgam means something else is mixed to it. It no longer remains pure mercury. But it means nothing. If you have a ball, mercury in your hand, nothing will happen. You will not float in the air or nothing. Actually, it's a symbology in the olden days used by the alchemists. You know, the word alchemist comes from the Arabic word alchemia, the chemist. Chemistry is from chemia, the Middle Ages. So, what it means is the mind is usually in a liquid state, flows. Wherever you tilt, it will go. That's the quality of a liquid. And to be able to make it solid means not allowing it to flow wherever it wants, to stop all distractions. This is Dharana. And why is mercury used as a symbol for the mind? Because it is the only liquid metal and it is very shiny. And it's called Buddhan, which is also the name given to the some constellation, Buddhan. Mercury, planet, is also called Buddhan. So there is a link between the planet and the metal and so on. Anyway, that's not our concern. What our concern is how to bind this flowing thing into one. Bind it to the place where it is without moving and without being distracted by this or that internally. Now the practicals, if there are any. First, this has to be clearly understood what we are trying to do. Suppose I sit with my eyes open and fix my attention there or here or here. Traditionally, you cannot qualify it as dharana. Dharana would mean to allow the mind to sit in its own place, which is internal, without movement, without going here, without going there. So how do you do that? Now, traditionally, different methods have been prescribed. The simplest, the earliest, and the most important message described is to fix your internal attention in the heart, anahat. For that, since the mind cannot fix its attention generally and stay without movement in one place because it lives by looking at images and things, nama and rupa, so one way is to think of a beautiful lotus in your heart. On the top of the lotus, think of a light, whatever you want to do. Fix your attention there. Make sure that you appreciate the lotus with its shining petals and its light and become fully absorbed in it. For some time there is no distraction. Now this is called dharana, the beginning of dharana. Once you have done that, then you will be able to fix your attention in any of the plexuses or chakras which are in the human system, which are called padmas or chakras. So then when you fix your attention on each center, I have already described that in many videos. If you go and refer chakra dharana, you will find the details of it. I don't have to go into it now. But I am saying that to start with, to hold the mind together in one place without movement in dharana is to go to the heart center and think of the lotus and dwell there. The other center you can dwell according to the yogis to start with is the bhrumadhya. Between the eyebrows, slightly above. There also you can go and sit quietly in that state, in that desa, without any movement, without any binding, without any other thought pulling you together. Stay here. This is the second kind of dharana. The dharana on the other chakras and centers, please refer to chakra dharana. Okay. The second technique, which is usually applied with this visual technique, the technique of sound during dharana. So how do you do so? Chant. And the simplest mantra to chant would be Om. So first fix your attention here or fix your attention here. And then chant audibly first and then in your mind Om, like Om or Om. Or if you have been initiated into a mantra, chant the mantra and fix your, but attention has to be fixed in some one place here or here. That's why the word desa is used, place. fix it here or fix it here, and stay there. And keep chanting. And keep visualizing. Yeah. There are particular people with a certain mentality who find it very difficult to close their eyes and think of a lotus or something. So for them, there is something called Vigraha Aradhana Dharana, which means when you grow up in your house, you might have got attached to a particular form of the deity. Shiva or Krishna or Rudra or a Rama or whatever. So visualize that deity which is in your puja room, inside your heart, or which is outside in the temple, inside your heart. Bringing the deity inside the heart is called avahana. Bring him inside, or bring her inside the Devi, in the heart center. And then whatever you do there, do here. Put a garland, wash the feet, put chandan, put kumkum, put all that. And then enjoy it and sit down quietly and chant the mantra connected to that devata, Ishta Devata. This is your Ishta Devata. Chant your Ishta. This is also Dharana. So Dharana can be color, on color, on sound, on shape and form, or for some people who probably are evolved more, I don't know, nothingness. The mind is just staying there. It's not going here, not going there, not even applying itself to any form or name or sound, nothing. But what you have to notice, whichever way you do your dharana, when your mind is quiet, absolutely settled, or in the process of settling down, then because your senses have also become very subtle, you might hear some sounds internal. Once the internal sounds are beginning to be heard, then dharana becomes very simple, very easy, because all you have to do then is to tune into the sound. Please, I am not talking about voices talking in your head. That needs a psychiatrist to work out how to get rid of it. I am not talking about that. Please don't think that dharana means already the voices are talking. Without dharana only I am listening. No, that is a disorder. I am not talking about that. I am saying when the mind is quiet, first you will probably hear the thumping of the heart, which normally we don't hear because we are so distracted. The mind becomes subtle, you can hear boom, boom, boom. Some people have likened it to the damaru of Shiva. Dum, 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 or like a drum. Which normally we don't. Or sometimes you will hear the rush of the blood in the bloodstream going on. And as your dharana becomes sharper and sharper, you might hear a small sound like a cicada inside your head. Watch out, there are no cicadas outside. Sometimes you might mistake that. Inside, ching, 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 ching. When that starts, give complete attention. This is called Shabda. That sound is called Shabd. Listen to that. Kabir Das has sung a lot about Shabd. Guru Nanak has mentioned Shabd. They made it in Punjabi, it becomes Shabad, of course, Shabd, sound, internal sound. So, and we know that as you go deeper and deeper, not people talking, but to hear sound of ringing bells sometimes, veena sounds, flute sounds, beautiful music coming. And we have been told that when you hear that music, give more attention to the right side. Don't ask me why. This is what we have learned. Listen to it. As you listen to it, then your dharana is fixed. If there is no way you can be distracted. You are fully listening to the orchestra. It's beautiful and goes inside. Now the artificial way of bringing it about is to do the Brahmari Om Kriya. Close your ears and do vibration sound. After some time, even when you are not closing your ears, when you are not doing it, you will hear that sound inside. Like the buzzing of the bee, like the damaru. like the sound of the veena, like the sound of the flute, and so on and so forth. In between, if somebody says, hey, watch out, it's not the sound, internal sound, anahari. So, this is the way dharana is. And if you continue in dharana for some time, it slips on into gradually, automatically, into what is called dhyana. So we will stop with dharana today. Dhyana we will do in the next session. These are the short COVID sessions. Because I give you 1 hour and you will not listen for 10 minutes. Now I give you a short one, give complete attention to that. I know I'm going to get 100 emails saying, but when you hear that sound, it should be long or short, please just listen. Or if you don't hear any sound, go into the light, look at the form, look at the lotus, fix your attention there, stay with it, allow your mind to be sthira sukham. Then you are doing asana, you are also doing dharana. With this, we end. But before we end, we are going to sit now, all of us, for a minute or so. I am going to fix my attention in the heart. You can do it either here or here or any center which appeals to you. And sit quietly and in your mind silently chant Om or your Ishta mantra. So when I say 1, 2, 3, we are going in. And when it's over, I will chant Hari Om Tat Sat, and then we are out. Then Om Shanti Shanti, session over. Okay? So watch out now. 1, 2, 3. Hari Om Tat Sat. Now if the dharana stretches on for some more time like this, then you are in dhyana. So we'll come to that in the next session. Thank you. Namaskar. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat.